Hello everybody, this is Todd here. I decided today why not do a video, taking a break on some comic for the moment, so maybe today we'll do a tutorial. So I'm actually going to have my tablet running at the same time if I can get it to work, so I can see if anybody has questions. I can maybe address them and it won't be quite as boring. So I think what we're going to do is a chibi drawing. I'm doing these tutorials at comic book conventions now, so I thought why not do a live one, and then I'll put it on my YouTube video or my YouTube channel. So they're really easy. This one's a request. My son Finn wanted a Captain Canuck, so we're going to draw Captain Canuck. They're easy. So let me get the camera positioned. Okay, so these are easy. They're basically, when I first started drawing these, I based them off of Funkos. They've evolved since then. There are a lot of different ways to draw these. I'm not saying this is the right way or the best way. It's just the way I do it. So let's give it a shot. So I'm going to start with just general head. Let's get it in position here. Chibis all have big heads. So that's just a basic head for you. I'm going to do a center line for the eye, line for the mouth, and divide the vertical. So you have two sides. You know, an eye is going to go here, an eye is going to go here, mouth is going to go here. So I'm going to rough in some more of the body. I just think in bubble shapes. Big head, little body. But because he's a superhero, we got to make him look pretty powerful. And then we'll just imply an... Okay, we're back on. Somehow there was a signal break, so let's keep it going. So I've got the shoulder here, elbow here. Usually I just drop a big fist in the foreground. So off on the other side I'll do the same thing. Now I tend to think of the arms and legs on these chibis as real thick spaghetti noodles. That's just the easiest way I can do it, and then it keeps a cartoony look to it. So now I've got his chest, his abdomen, his arms, his fists, his tough head. So now for the legs, usually I'll just do two lines like that. Then draw the inside. About midway I'll put a kneecap and that big foot. So now we've got the basis for Captain Canuck. What's up, Matthew? So let's do the eyes now. Give him have a serious squinty eye. And then I'll give him a big eye. The other side makes him look a little bit more comedic. And a little smile. And then he's got a cowl, so let's put the cowl on here. His neck's right there. We're going to give him some fingers. And then drop a big thumb in there. Now, whenever I do the chibis, I usually give them 3 fingers because they're cartoons. Once you put a 4th finger in there, then they look a little more serious. So we'll stick with just 3. Let me pull up a reference real quick because I can't remember what his costume looks like. Okay, so his forehead, he's got, looks like a Canadian maple leaf. Makes it kind of hard since I got the one eye up, but he's a cartoon, so we'll do it anyway. And then that kind of comes down around his eyes here. And he's kind of got a bit of a Wolverine-like costume. And then a belt. Let's drop in that belt. And then he's got a maple leaf. Right there. And then he's got some underwear. Let's put his underwear on the outside. Alright, so now I got pretty much a rough idea of what I want to have. So I'm going to jump right into ink. So let's start with the head again. I always draw the head first. So do the eyes. Now I'm using a brush pen. That's just my tool of choice. Use whatever you want to use. Usually when I do the drawing sessions, it's just straight pencil. Let's do the big eye. I'm getting a little rough with the with the brush today. I'm sorry for the cough. I've been battling with bronchitis for a couple of weeks, so hopefully it's not too distracting. So on the head, we're going to do the maple leaf. There, now we got that. We'll darken it and make him look a little tough. Give him wrinkles up over his eyes. And then let's darken this. We'll put some color on this before we're done. And then I like to do line work, like hatch lines. So put those in. And this is just creating different value. When I do the chibis, I usually just kind of knock them out pretty quick, especially on a day like today when it's just either a warm-up or just a break. Alright, so now we got his head done. Got up his neck, which I just kind of drop that in like a cylinder. And we'll do top of his body. shoulder. Again, I'm thinking of spaghetti noodles, so it's not a whole lot of detail. So now I have the edge of his body. I've got a little bit of the bicep coming in here. Let's do the rest of his costume. Now I'm going to just kind of drop in a few lines, create a little bit of muscle tone. I don't get too detailed with these again. Yeah, he's looking tough. Now this is going to be white. The arms are going to be dark red. The sides of his body are going to be red. So I'll go in with a little bit more detail, give it a little bit of shadowing. Right now I'm going to move further down and do his belt. Those that are familiar with my artwork, this isn't the way I would typically ink a comic page. Usually I'll put a million lines in there, but the chibis don't look right if they have a lot of line work. He's got a boot on here, so it's a boot. Yeah, that's a bad joke. So my son Finn and I, we've been trying to talk like Canadians, so that's funny to me, probably not to anyone else. Again, I don't go into detail on the feet too much. I just kind of make them these real heavy objects. Balance out the size of the head and the fists. I don't know, I think it looks kind of silly when there's a huge head, huge fists, and huge feet and little tiny limbs. So I kind of go with that. I'll do his hands now. Usually with the hands, I'll go heavier on the ink on those because they're in the foreground. So it kind of creates a little bit more depth to the drawing. And the nice thing about the brush pen is that you can just apply a little bit more wrist to it. Be a little more heavy-handed, and you get a nice thick line. That thumb didn't quite work out. The thumb actually should come right around here, but that'll work for now. Hi, Michael. Alright, so now I'm going to go and just add a little bit more definition where the arms, the body, and the legs are, where it's supposed to be red. And again, I don't put a whole lot of detail in this because I think it would look rather grotesque. So I'm really just implying a lot of stuff. I'm not really putting much detail into it. It's just implying. Alright, so I'm going to erase a little bit of these pencil lines, because once I start putting the markers down, the pencil line will not erase. It'll become permanent. I have to kind of remember where I inked, because the brush pen, it takes a while for the ink to dry. So if I go over a recent area, I'm going to end up with a big smear. A lot of times I'll just use Sharpie. I don't have to worry about that. It's not a very complex pose. For the tutorials I go with a pretty simple pose. I forgot to put his maple leaf. Let's put the maple leaf back in there. I forgot to ink it. I'm not going to be too detailed with the markers either. Like I said, these warm-ups are meant to just drop a few lines, spend about 10-15 minutes on something, have it done. I'm not trying to create the Sistine Chapel with these, just having fun. A lot of times I'll go in with a white marker, or not a white marker, but a whiteout pen, and pull out some highlights. Seems like every artist does that now. So it's good because I don't have to really think about it too much when I'm doing the markers. Sometimes I will, but other times I'll just go in after the fact and pull those highlights out. So now I got the red in there. Let's put a little skin tone. Oh, this one's drying up. Oh, that one's dry. Let's try this one. Not perfect, but it'll do. So now I'm going to use gray and use a different one. That tip needs replaced. Here we go. So I didn't really put in any strong light source on this. Wasn't really planning on making it super dramatic. Just trying to make them cute and making it basic. So I'll just have the edges lit. Just a basic understanding of anatomy helps. I was able to create that form. But they don't have to be that detailed. You can go simpler if you want. And I just get really sketchy when I do the markers. Really rough. I don't model it too much. I have a hard time visualizing in my head. A lot of artists that I know have shared that before. I have a hard time picturing what I'm trying to draw in my head, so a lot of it I work out on the page, and with the fingers, that's a lot of it right there. It's just put the marker down and let the shapes come out. Really jealous of artists that can picture it exactly the way they want it in their head and then go to the board and can reproduce it. I can't do that. Okay, I forgot to put the red in the belt. I was going to do the more current version of this suit, but Finn asked me if I could do the classic, so that's why I have the classic one tonight. Now I'm just using a Copic multi-liner pen just to do a few things that I didn't do when I had the brush pen in my hand. Alright, I lied. I'm putting a lot of lines in there. But so what? Alright. I think I'm happy with it. I hope everybody else approves. If you drew along with me, then I'd love to see what you have. Post it if you want, or private message me. I'd love to wait highlights. There we go. That's him. I don't know. I think it looks alright. We'll see what Finn thinks. Thanks for watching. I'll try and post up another one another time. Maybe next week. Early in the week I'll do another Chibi. So, good night.